Hello and welcome to We Are Tottenham TV. It has finished Tottenham 3, Chelsea 4 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Look, we've had some time to dwell on it.
We have indeed.
How are you feeling now before we bring the fans in?
I'm still sore, to be honest with you. And you know what? If this had gone differently, like 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, if it had gone differently, I might not be as annoyed as I am. But the fact that we were 2-0 up, it just really hurts the way that we've gone and just sabotaged this match with 2 silly penalties and just the way we went about our defensive work as well.
So who's your blame? Like I shouldn't say blame, but where are you looking at? Are you looking at the manager? Or are you looking at the players? Which side of the coin are you looking at? Or is it a bit of a mix of both?
Yeah, it's a mix of both for me. So for player-wise, I'm looking at certain individuals who I won't call them out right now, but certain individuals who are just sabotaged our performance today and giving away 2 very, very silly penalties. It hurts. But having said that about the players, I do have to be very critical of Ange Postecoglou, his game management today. You should never be losing a game where you're 2-0 up at home. I'm sorry. You should never be losing a game.
When we went 2-0 up, I wasn't confident that we'd keep it, and I just thought this is for him probably the worst scoreline he probably could have had, because if they bring it back, he's going to be asked more and more questions. And you just saw it in our chat. Ange out, because he couldn't keep a 2-0 lead. And this goes back to where he said against Manchester City, where he goes, if I didn't play the way I played, would we have beaten 4-0? Okay, yeah, but if you play the way you're going to play, do you lose to Chelsea 4-3? So it balances itself out for anyway. But you know what? We've spoke too much, right? You can go watch our live match reaction. Let's bring on the fans and let's bring on the popular Mr. Brian Daigle himself. Brian, before we start talking about the game, I just want to say hi and how are you, my friend?
Mate, do you know what? To both of you and everyone in the chat, life is absolutely splendid.
Brilliant.
Apart from when I have to sit down and watch 90 minutes of football. And then it's just like, what the hell have I done to myself? But not just myself, every Spurs fan across the world. We need to join a self-support group.
Yeah. Are we part of a social experiment, Brian?
Yeah, it feels like self-sabotage on a global scale, Spurs fandom at the moment, Daigle.
Amir, I've said it to you before and I'll say it again. You know that Jim Carrey movie, The Truman Show? I reckon every single Spurs fan is part of The Truman Show, and there's a greater good just watching us, and they can choose which camera and which fan to watch.
That's Levy watching us, by the way, Brian.
Mate, it just doesn't happen to another football team. These kind of things just don't keep repeating itself, whether it be board, owners, manager, player, medical team, scout, staff, whatever it happens, it doesn't happen on such a regular basis. And you as fans, or we as fans, can see it coming. Seeing whether you're doing it on a channel and you're in a studio, whether you're in the pub like I was, whether you're at home with your family, in the ground, you see it happening clearly. And it still happens. And nothing, there's just... listen, we're just a joke. We are a joke.
Brian, you just said something there, right? And I don't really want to take it to the board, especially because I know your feelings already. But when you say that it keeps happening, and you look at other teams and it doesn't. But if you look at, let's take our tenure, probably every club, most clubs have had a change of either ownership or chairman between that time for things to change. Are we starting to get into that cycle of let's take Arsene Wenger. Let's take where he was there for way too long, and it just needed a change at that time to get Arsenal back to where they were, right? So are we kind of in the same boat where Spurs right now, look, it doesn't matter how many times you want to sprinkle stuff at the bottom of the food chain, if the top of the food chain is still thinking the same as they were 20 odd years ago, the same problems are going to keep happening, right?
Bingo, jackpot, Yahtzee, bullseye, whatever you want to use out of those ones. We keep doing this to ourselves. Listen, we'll get into the game itself, which I don't. I do blame on Levy because the strength in – 'depth and quality is crap on the injuries, but today that before we'll get into Ange. But listen, I've been saying stuff for 17 years since Yol was sacked about this ownership, and the most important thing is people start realising it. Listen, I don't care. I am very outspoken in the way I am about this ownership because I've had 17 years of this. 17 years of feeling this way, and it's built up and it's built up and it's built up to such a level of, and I will say, hatred for the owner. Hatred. Other people have different moments, which is, it could have been when Pochettino could have got sacked. It could have been with the Super League. It could have been when we went a season without signing anyone. It could have been sacking Mourinho before a final. It could have been sacking Conte. Whatever it is, I don't care when people get there. Everyone has that straw that breaks the camel's back moment. And when you get that straw that breaks the camel's back moment, welcome aboard. Please help. Please help, because we need all the supporters that feel this way to not just say, do you know what, I now don't have faith in the owner. We need fans to do something about it. We need people to stand up and say, I don't tolerate this anymore. So that's yeah, go on, Amir, bro.
No, I just want to, because I'm with you on the ownership and, you know, everything that you're saying there about, you know, at the top. But is it really Levy's fault for being 2-0 up against Chelsea
that's what I was going with it, yeah.
The way we threw this game away?
Yeah.
No, listen, the way you've got to do this, you've got to be balanced and put criticism where you think criticism lies.
Sure.
And for 90 minutes on that football pitch, you cannot blame Daniel Levy. You can say, yeah, because the players aren't there, blah, 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 whatever.
Sure.
That performance is solely on Ange Postecoglou today. And as people will know, I don't turn on managers. I don't rarely criticise managers. But listen, when you're 2-0 up against Chelsea, when you're 2-0 up, you've got to say, right, let's just keep it together. We're 2-0 up, just do this. And you know that 12 days of Christmas, well, today it's 3 new injuries, 2 people taken off.
Yeah.
It's just, mate, I don't understand. When we all saw the lineup and you see Van der Ven there, the very first thing I said to people in the Scotland Yard was, do you put Van der Ven or any player, whoever it is, who's just come back from a hamstring injury, do you throw him in to any game? Forget Chelsea. It could be Tamworth in the Cup. Do you put a defender or any position that's coming back from a hamstring and say, right, off you go? You normally ease them in. You normally ease them in and give their legs some minutes to warm up and get to match fitness. But Ange Postecoglou was damned if he did and damned if he didn't. Because if you didn't put him in, he was on the bench and we lost. It's why didn't you start him? And now that he did play him and he's gone off injured, it's why did you start him?
Yeah, we did say this at the beginning. We had the same problem, yeah.
So we've got that issue. But then obviously with Romero, then the fresh injury to Brennan Johnson. The biggest issue I have with Ange Postecoglou today is, like I said, the game management. 2-0 up at Brighton. All right, it was 2-1 at half-time here today, but Brighton came out of the second half fighting. Yep. And you could see what was going to happen. Like we were just saying at the beginning, you could see it. And he doesn't make a change. We were under siege and he doesn't make a change. Listen, Bissouma with that penalty, you're an idiot.
So Brian, quickly, before we just go... Quickly, just on that, right? So a lot of people will sit there and go, right? And I know you're going to go on to Sarah as well, but a lot of people, especially Ange in people, right, that are proper Ange, and say, are the players more brain dead? And that's not really on Ange, because Bissouma giving away a penalty and Sarr giving away a penalty has nothing. They will say, right, even though I think completely different, will say that it's down to the players, not down to Ange.
Oh, God, mate, listen, I said on the game after Bournemouth, I said we have no leaders. There's no one on the pitch to hold the players accountable and say, what you're doing, fix up, sort yourselves out, don't be reckless. There's no accountability on that pitch. Like I said, Ange tells them the way to play. And for the style of play and carrying it on is wrong. But these footballers have a footballing brain. These footballers have played football since kids, gone through grassroots, gone through academies, or gone to clubs, got their big moves to big teams because they've shown something. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And these tackles, I mean, the Sarr one was just stupid. And not only giving those penalties away, when you know the penalty taker taking it, it's like the Matt Letizia back in the day that just does not miss.
Great.
And you know what? Again, I'm going to say Fraser Foster saved our bacon again, countless of times. That could have been a cricket score. But these players need to take accountability and need to take a long hard look at themselves. Don't get me wrong. They started off on fire, and I'm like, this is more like it, but why can't you do this in the small games? Because you only turn up in the big games. And then we just ran out of steam, and then Chelsea with their... You see the kind of subs they're making. Let's take Neto off and bring Madueke on.
Do you know what? This is the thing, Daigle. And when me and Marlon were reading out those starting lineups and looking at the subs, we said it before the game. You look at Chelsea's bench; it's 10 times stronger than ours. And this is where I think it all circles back to Levy and the squad and all that. But I think you're spot on. You're fully spot on with when it comes to Ange and his management today. I think he got it not just in terms of his player selection, but his in-game management wrong as well. We're now another 2 centre backs down. You got Romero out, VDV out. Davis is out, and we've got all these games still to come in December. When it comes to the brain dead players, I think you're spot on as well, Daigle, because they have gone through grassroots. They've gone through. Basuma's an international footballer.
Yeah, okay, so
he shouldn't be making that tackle.
Okay, but let me then ask you both this question: Isn't it? You're saying that they've been through that level and they've been through this, but isn't it down to the tactics that they're playing and the reason because they have to be risky? To the reason why they're making these stupid decisions because they just can't play this way. Because me and you, I'll say this, sat there on the 55th minute before Basuma does that thing, and we could clearly see Basuma was not at it, and there was not 1 minute did Ange think to change it and go, Basuma is going to cost us if I don't take him off, because there was too many times in that first half, in between the lines, that Palmer and Sancho and Neto were getting in from passes
past.
They were
having a field day.
So
they were having a field day.
When people say it's not Ange's fault and it's brain dead footballers, but actually the tactics that he's playing is causing Basuma to play in that way. Am I wrong, or am I looking at it completely different?
Well, you're right, but also what you've got to look at is Basuma has been poor recently, very poor.
Oh, we said that.
In my eyes.
No, we can't wait for Bentancur to come back.
It's not even with Bentancur to come back. If you're playing poor, you've got the 2 midfielders in Gray and Bergvall, like I said against Bournemouth, that we bought and told we weren't buying midfielders because we're really impressed with their progress. Yet the players are playing crap. And it's like, no, you just carry on. You just carry on, because I don't trust the players that I bought, that I told everyone, or he was told, whatever way you want to look at it. Those players, they made really good progress, so we're not going to strengthen midfield. But then when our midfielders that are there as the first teamers that are playing crap, you bring them on when you're 4-2 down, not when you're 2-1 up. And you could see from that second half, Chelsea just wanted it more. They had hunger. They had determination. They know they are in a title race.
Yep.
They are in a genuine title race. Who would have thought it after all the crap they've gone through? But they found the right managers, they've done it. Whereas we're languishing in 11th. And you've got to look at this now. We've lost 7 games. We're not even at Christmas. And to put it into perspective, and I know it's a long time ago, but the final season in the Lane, we lost 6 games all season.
Let's throw something else in perspective for you. Ange's lost 21 games already, and he's not even been here 2 years.
Listen, I still can't say the words that I say about the ownership. I really should be. Let's just put it this way. You know when you go to the top of the diving board and you look down, you're like, oh, that's a bit big, but you're looking over. I'm kind of there. I stand up for what I say, and I always stick to my word when it comes to my football team, especially when it comes to ownership, whatever. But it's a result. Listen, it's a results-based business.
Yeah,
we are not getting the results. It's a game of tactics where you make changes to adapt to your current situation. We're not doing it.
Yeah,
it's a game where you've got to be smart and have game management. We're not. Listen, 2-0 up against Brighton, couldn't hold on. 1-0 against Fulham, couldn't hold on, couldn't get through Ipswich, couldn't get through Palace. And now you look at it with all these injuries, Marlon, we've now got Rangers. And Rangers, don't get me wrong, as crap as they are at the moment, one thing they will do is fight.
So let me get back. You've made a great point there, right, about these injuries, right? Because a lot of people would say to us right now that, oh, come on, he's got all these injuries, the most injuries in the league, this, then the other. But however, he had these injuries last season, so why are we not prepared for it this year?
Well, with more games as well. Then you've got. That's where you look at That's where you look and say,
Lange.
I mean, you can go Lange.
Yeah.
This way, you've got to look at this now and go, right, is Ange player selection and player identification an issue? Yeah. Then you look at it and say, right, and what you've got to look at it is Lange and McKenzie and whoever have the choice of the transfers. Obviously, they have a conversation with Ange. I want a player that could do this or have these attributes. Goes to McKenzie and Lange. They go to Munn or whoever, and then it goes to the dick at the top. And then who knows what happens. But if you look at it, we've gone from Conte and Paratici to Ange and Lange. And I'm sorry, what you've got to look at as well, and people will know, I will absolutely go for Levy as much as I can, when I can, as often as I can. But the directors are also getting that. There's accountability at this football club from top to bottom. But right now, if people cannot identify that we're in a massive mess from top to bottom, and it, like you said, Marlon, at the beginning, you can change the sprinkles and you can change everything, but something just stays the same and remains.
Yeah.
Then you've got to start thinking, why does this keep happening? Why do we keep seeing the same thing happen again? Why do we keep getting told this is the last chance saloon? Why do we keep getting told, oh, it's a new dawn, it's a new day? Why do we keep getting told all these bloody things? And the worst thing is, should Ange go, the second we bring in a manager, as soon as he's signed that contract, he is screwed before the ink dries on it. I can tell you now, our next four managers...
Right. He's right.
Our next four managers are doomed. Whoever they are, I don't know who they are. We don't know. Whoever comes in, they are doomed the second they give their John Hancock on that contract, because they will be shafted.
Yep. No, I agree.
So,
I agree,
Daigle, in all seriousness, where do Spurs go from here in the next week or so? Look, we've got Rangers and Southampton, right? And it's suicide football versus suicide football next week.
I said at the beginning of this week, after Fulham, someone said to me, how many points are we taking from Chelsea and Bournemouth? And I said, we'll be lucky if we get one. Weren't even that lucky. That's how unlucky we are. Can't even get 1 point. Rangers, if you offer me a draw right now, I would snap your goddamn hand off. And it's just written in the stars every time we go to Southampton away. We get screwed. We get screwed.
Could Ange have a Conte moment?
He's having memories of Ward-Prowse whipping them balls in. Oh, God.
Could he have a Conte moment next week?
Ward-Prowse ain't at Southampton, thank God. But he's at Forest. But then after we play Rangers and Southampton,
we've got the big.
We have Manchester United in the cup and Liverpool.
Hey, we need to play Man United again right now.
Mate, I don't see why, honestly.
We need a Manchester club.
Well, listen, we are in very, very dark times. We are threadbare because of these injuries. Yeah. We are a team that have got no leaders. We are a team that don't know how to fight. We are a team through the manager that don't know how to see a game out.
Yep.
We have a transfer team that can't find shit. Well, actually, that's the problem. They do find shit.
They need to come over to Spurs Kings TV. We find them some players.
I just honestly, it's getting to the point now. It's like, what are we? What are we?
We're a club that makes money. That's who we are.
Yep.
What?
Nothing else.
Zippity doodah, zippity doodah.
If you want a football club, go somewhere else.
Mate, honestly,
There's
you look
plenty
at
to choose from.
it, but how do we seriously? I don't even know if Ange will be manager for Rangers, and I want the guy to succeed, but the results now are not good in any way, size, shape, or form that you look at this. It's a results-based business, and the results simply aren't good enough.
Yeah, I think once we start looking like we can't get to a European place, that's when Ange's time is up.
It's dark times, guys.
It's not Champions League spaces no more because they realise they can make as much money in Europa League games.
Champions League.
Yeah.
It's the Champions League. Oh, that's brilliant.
But I think it's the extra income now for these extra games where they're going, you know what, we can still make an income on Thursday, so it's fine. It's all okay.
Yeah.
So I'm personally, I think if us Spurs fans are not going to come together, then we're just going to have this up and down yo-yo results, and we just have to get used to it. And we're going to moan one week, be positive one week, negative the next. And people can't moan at that because that's exactly what the club are feeding all of us right now.
Yep. Listen, let me just put it out the shirt as where it stay. Until this happens, until these bastards are gone, nothing changes.
So, at least you're not leaving, at least as long as you're Anjan still then. You're not quite there yet, but you're still
it's killing me. It's honestly, like I said, I can't bring myself to say the words, but I am telling you right now, this simply isn't good enough.
Yeah.
It simply isn't acceptable.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's simply, listen, you've got to, like I said, as much as I try and force people to say or show them that the ownership is the issue, you've got to be true to yourself and balanced. And right now, by hook or by crook, Ange is under severe pressure, and correctly so, and he's got to do something if he's given the chance, but I don't think he will be given the chance, that is.
What's the other option, though, Daigle? Bring in Mason. Again, interim, caretaker, merry-go-roundabout on the manager, rodeo again.
Hey, Amir, listen.
I thought he was going to say, not my problem.
Listen, we all know the top-tier managers that we've tried to get, the Nagelsmann and the Slots, won't come. They're not interested. They're not interested. No. I've said it before. I want Thomas Frank. I don't think Thomas Frank leaves Brentford for us.
No.
Why do you leave Brentford?
Why would he?
Why would you leave?
Brilliantly over there.
It's even so bad that Graham Potter has even rejected us. That is where we're
mate, he'd rather stay on the rock and roll. He'd rather stay. We've got an unemployed manager for 2 years. That doesn't. I mean, what does that say to you? There's a manager out of work and has been for 2 years and doesn't want to come back to this football. Listen, I'll tell you how it goes. If Ange goes, no manager's going to want to come. We won't want to spend money in January because we don't spend money at all. So there'll be Mason, but then we'll say to Mason, we're not going to give you money because we don't know who the next manager is, but have the Korean kid. We bring Ashley Phillips and all the youngsters back to you that we don't trust because we loan them out. You make them look good, but we don't play Graham Bergvall, but we're not going to play. Mess. Car crash club. Car crash FC is what we are.
Brian, thank you as always. I say to Amir, I don't want him to come on first, but no, thank you so much.
Yeah.
No worries, guys. You have a great day. Everyone in the chat have a great day, and just remember,
you too, Daigle, you too.
Hopefully, one day this won't be an entertainment business with a property portfolio that play football as a side hustle. One day, someday, and I will do anything I can in my power to force change. Hopefully, more will. We will get the football club back and be proud to support this team.
Amen to that, Daigle.
Amen. But
See you later,
thank
guys.
you, Brian. Cheers.
Take care, Daigle.
Do you know what? I'm mean because I started him off and Levy, didn't I? That was my first question. I'm a bit mean. I shouldn't have done that. But no, bless him. No, but I wanted to. The reason why I was asking about Levy first was because I wanted to get onto the Ange bit and kind of follow it on, like to see where his head was at. Because if we just started on the Ange and tactics, and then it would eventually go on to Levy. But let's start on the big bit first, and then move on,
and then
see where his head's at with the whole thing. Because yes, it's not. Look, even he said it's not Levy's fault today.
No,
right?
It's not.
It is completely on Ange. And
the overall 20 years is on Levy for sure. But no, game management today, Ange. Not just game management, I would say player management as well. And
it's that Basuma bit for me, because I think we saw the same thing against Brighton with Udogie and was like, take him off, and he made the mistake.
I was going to say it was VDV and Remet. For me, even worse than what Basuma did, having them two get injured, for me, I
didn't see that as a really bad mistake. I saw that as desperate. And yes, in hindsight, because if it worked, because we're 2-0 up, if it works, then he's a genius, isn't he? But the problem was, it didn't work but we saw parts of the game, like with Basuma, like I'm going to keep saying it, we saw Basuma's game and we're like, he's got to
come off,
But let's bring on our next guest, Jory. Hope you are well.
Hey guys, I don't know how well I am. I'm kind of nursing a couple of very disappointed kids here at home who were bawling their eyes out.
Mate, how could you pass that on to them as well, Jory, and lead them through to decades of misery, man?
They were like, Dad,
Jory,
how can you support this fucking team?
Jory, tell him I've been there with Spurs and Chelsea. We've played Chelsea. I remember I was crying my eyes out when I was younger. I think we were at the bridge. So we've all been there. Does it get any better? Tell him no.
Tell him the truth from a young age.
Just take a break from football like I did for many years. That's the only way to get out.
I think we could all do with that right now, Jory.
Jory, talk to us though. 2-0 up. Mm-hmm. How have we ended up in a situation like this today, where we've lost 4-3?
I mean, I have to say, in general, I was happy with the application that the squad showed tonight. There were players with issues for sure. Basuma was early really clear for me. I sent a message in your chat saying I wanted Gray in as soon as possible. Not that I think Gray is going to do any miracles, but I saw the train wreck coming with Basuma, and it happened, of course. Also, I mean, to answer your question, how does it happen? It happens because our squad is depleted and exhausted. They had the fight. They had the right attitude tonight. Some players were struggling. So I have to say, like for me, son, if your base is gonna drop this low, you really need to rethink your role. And we put a lot of faith in you, and that baseline is way too low for you, son. Like I mean, we know that when he's struggling, his touch is difficult. But when you're like every other pass, you're doing a bad pass, then I don't know, Sonny. Are you one of the players that are not focusing fully on the football? I don't buy that it's his age and all of that. Sonny, you need to be a lot better than you showed tonight. But I would say, I mean, it happens because the squad is completely, it's a mess. It's dead. And why is it dead? Because we're playing Ange Postecoglou football with only 11 players that are competitive in that, And I've been thinking a lot about this. The very least you need to be able to play this kind of football in the Premier League is 20 players at starting level competence, and we have teenagers instead, and so Ange should know that, and Ange should also know that he is about to destroy his squad if he continues this way. The only problem is that Ange doesn't really have an option because he doesn't know any other like holistic system that he can go into. He can tweak, and I've been happy with many of his tweaks, but in general, it's going to be this high press, high line football, and that's going to kill the squad. It killed much bigger squads than ours. It killed Liverpool not that long ago, and you're going to have freaking 8-10 injuries every season. It's not a surprise. It's in the numbers. if you can't rotate a full first team, then you're going to have this amount of injuries. So that's how it happens, and that's why it's not going to be much of a bounce. We might see a bounce in next game, but in general, this is a downward trend that's coming up now. Because unless we go and buy like 5 outfield players in January, which we're not going to do,
no.
then this trend will continue. And like I said, there shouldn't be any news to Ants or really anybody who has anything to do with the football at this point. But I would like to. Here's Isaac. He's feeling a little bit better now. So.
Hi,
Hello.
Isaac. Things will get better, little fella. Don't you worry. They will get better. Eventually.
Yeah. No, but I wanted also to put a couple of questions to you guys, because we of course went from sack pots, Levy sack pots, and then we got Mourinho in. And I ask you guys, did we complete and follow through what a Mourinho tenure should be? Did we kind of fulfill that tenure from a club point of view? I would like, what I mean there is, like, did we basically recruit what you're supposed to recruit to give Mourinho what Mourinho needs to do Mourinho things?
I would say it was miraculous what Mourinho managed to do with the players that he had at his disposal, and I would say it was criminal for Levy to sack him before a cup final. Criminal.
I would probably say I think Conte ended up taking him, between him and Nuno, ended up taking the rest of what we call a Mourinho team.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. But the problem is Conte and Mourinho, where they're quite similar, their player profiles are quite different. And I think that was what the issue was. Even though they were all they are defensive minded. One's a back 3, one's a back 4, and it was never going to work. And they both relied on Eric Dyer, which that's for them. That's criminal. Yeah, but
Marlon, my question is more: did we, the club, did they, go follow through with the recruitment of Mourinho? Did we follow it up with actions that's going to support what Mourinho is supposed to do? And my answer, of course, would be no. We didn't do that, and I agree.
It would always be Joe Rodon, wasn't it? That would be where the biggest issue was with Mourinho, where he wanted a central defender in at the back, and they gave him Joe Rodon, and he was like, "I'm gonna have to take that."
Conte
what you're both alluding, and I agree completely with Samir here, is like, I think Mourinho did miracles as well with what he had, So, and I think you're both alluding. But I'm gonna progress this line of questioning. Did we follow through with the Conte appointment? Did we, recruit in a time and in a manner that supports, that makes sense when you bring in Conte? And I would say right away, no, nowhere close to it.
I would say we've got a Conte team now.
I would say this team would be very dangerous in Conte's hand. I agree with that. But I would say there's still, Conte would have wanted much more seniority in there as well.
The thing with Conte is, the only thing I'd say with Conte, and I kind of half don't blame the club for everything with Conte, is because Conte had a lot of issues that season personally, right? Where he lost 2 of his best friends that season. He wasn't in the right headspace. Then Benson Cole getting injured. I don't think everyone realizes Benson Cole getting injured against Leicester in February completely derailed everything, because Benson Cole was completely the best player in the team and getting us through some games. And then he had to take the month off. He had his surgery. I just don't think his heart was in it, and I think that was a major issue. That's why the outburst came against Southampton. And it was kind of to say, I can't do this anymore. And I kind of think the club would have stuck with him to the end of the season if they could.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that. I would say I don't really blame the club, because the club knew that they never intended to follow through with it anyway.
He had an 18-month contract, didn't he? Yeah.
They never intended to buy any more of or get in any more of like now I lose his name. What was our winger? Perisic. You know, we never intended to be in the market for those types of players. We never intended to go full on to get the fullback at Inter and so on. You know, what we intended to do is get a guy in that's good enough to get us into Champions League and settle the fan uproar that was at that moment. You know, and that's what they succeeded in once again.
Job done. Job
done. That was the mission for the board, basically, you know. And now it's Hans Postecoglou, and I ask you guys once again: are we following through with what you should do when you appoint Hans Postecoglou? And I would say no, not. Because like Conte and Mourinho, they need a few guys, but they're going to be pretty expensive. Hans doesn't need expensive guys, but he needs a lot of guys. And we've done neither, you know, so we don't follow through with any of our managers' profiles of what they need to be able to do their job.
Well, so this is my question to you. This was my question to Amir earlier, right? Ange is obviously not the right man for this board. Do we? It's not, but he's probably more suited to the fan base, right? If we think about it. But do we need to go get a manager that's more suited to the board than it is anything else? Because otherwise, we're always going to be in this up and down results business because the board are never going to be committed to bringing in anything for any manager.
No, because I have to ask you then, Marlon, what's the point of that? Because the board is not committed to taking any risk beyond they're not even committed to risking anything there. They just want to do what they think.
That's why I was saying earlier that maybe Poch was the perfect person for them at the time because he could get the best out of a minimal amount of players that he was required and be able to get the best results and hit the ceiling, right? But when
Sorry, Marlon.
But when Poch then suddenly went, hold on, I want more than this. He outgrew the club. Well, not the club, but the board. And the board were like, no. And going back to your point, they didn't want to then back the manager to take them to that next step. So maybe that's what our board kind of need. They just need to bring in these Poch managers who suit their profile instead of suiting the fans, all us, because that's the only way it's going to be successful. The problem is they've got to go out and go find that person out there. Because it's not going to be a top.
That's what they've been doing, Marlon. Yeah. They've been getting in managers that can make a big PR circus, and even Mans is that.
But they've been getting managers to suit the fans. They haven't been getting managers to suit them. That's been the difference. But
that's their main priority.
Yeah, they want to just appease us. Do you know what I mean? They want you to bring in a win now manager and appease you for a year.
So let's take Poch. When he was signed, right? None of us really knew, and none of us knew how to take it. It was just a manager appointment at the time because we just lost. It was between the AVB and Sherwood moment, and Sherwood we were all like, we don't care who it is at the moment. But now you look at Mourinho was signed for the fans. They didn't want to fully commit to that. Conte was then signed for the fans. They tried to go with Nuno because they were trying to back Paratici, right? But as soon as it went, it was literally like the fall now. Yeah. They went, let's go and get Conte, who the fans want.
And look at Nuno now, by the way, even though I'm not agitated, I'm not going to say that I wanted that or anything.
But look, he's doing a wonderful job.
But then you look at Ange. And same things with Ange. It was what the fans wanted. All the fans wanted was we've had two defensive managers who all the fans asked for was an attacking manager. They didn't ask for someone who could defend, but that's what the fans got.
But then Marlon, and this is why I'm like, for me, it's actually important to be hands in this moment because I want to like I can set. I don't want a cup. I don't want a league. For me, success in this period of history that we're in right now, success would be to complete the project that we set out on. Whatever, and like with Ants, it means complete a squad for me, I would say, ideally, if you're going to go all in, you would have basically 3 times a full starting setup to be able. Then you can sustain that on this level for sure. Is it going to yield anything? Well, that's what I would love to know. I would love to see it. If it can. Because I can't say that I know it if we now fire him at this.
Jory, what you're saying is exactly the point that I think frustrates most Tottenham fans that are still Ange in. You're saying, I can see the sparks of what this team would be capable to do if they had the firepower required. Because we beat City, we beat United, we beat Villa. Yeah? You can see that there's the elements there to go and do something. But then you look at the bench and you see school kids. You see players that are not of the caliber to come in and jump into that first 11.
Exactly. So, we have at the most we have been able to sustain this level of play a quarter of a season. This is a downward trend. It's going to go down to 2 games at one. We're getting into 1-2 games where we're able to play like this, and so for me the count is 20 plus starting quality players that you need in your squad.
No, great.
And so for me to say that Ansball is not viable, which is my suspicion in general, just because I think philosophically, nothing to do with Ans, I just think philosophically, if you're and I talked to Sim about this, and then he looked it up, and it's like the games where we've had the least possession, we've won 4 or 5. The games where we've had the most possession, we've lost 4 or 5. So, the possession thing is only possible in the Premier League if you're at the very top of ball playing ability with every player. And, you need to be world class. You need to be Liverpool or City, and Liverpool on a good year, not even Liverpool on every year, and that's not what we're ever going to be, guys.
No, we're still so far, so
So
far
for
away from
me, and I said this to Sim at the time in the call-in, for me, our most important trait of our DNA or whatever is being able to play some of the best transitional football in the world, and being quick on the break and so on. And this is just as much Tottenham DNA for me. So that's that would be what I would be hoping for. I'm not talking about counter attacking, being very defensive, and that could be one version yet. But I'm talking about just being a little bit more clever about it, a mid block, whatever, and just utilizing those transitional moments, and of course utilizing set pieces and all of that to a much higher degree. But I don't even care what I want anymore. I just want whatever we pick, can we now complete that process? Can we now let it have a real chance at showing what it's capable of? And I do think that if we were doing that, then this moment that we're in now is maybe the deep, dark valley, and there would be a lot of joy once we get out of that. But with this ownership, it's not. We're not gonna get in the 10 other top outfield players, and he's not gonna get the time. I think Levy is lining up now. I don't think he has. I mean, unless he completely turns it around, I think he's probably going to be out before the end of the year, because Levy still thinks he can get somebody in and get a European spot.
I'm with you, Joey. I think a bad result up in Scotland, and I think it's very close, close to pulling the trigger.
No, I think Southampton will be the trigger.
Because
if that's a bad result, you can't. Everyone's battering Southampton.
But also, guys, I have to say also, I mean, knowing this, like Ans also knows what club he's going into, and what league he's going into. So I'm not taking any blame of him. He should know that it's pretty much an impossibility with this kind of setup, and also with the players. There are players that also bear a lot of responsibility, I think. And actually, I was watching back the famous Conte press conference, and I recommend everybody do it. I watched the whole thing back, and really his central theme. I mean, he talked about the owners and stuff like that, but the picture that he built was that there isn't an environment that demands anymore.
Success,
and that's the fans, that's the media, that's the club, that's the city, that's everything. And he has never, and he says, I've never experienced this situation. When he walks into Napoli, the whole city is crazy and demanding that it'll get better if it's not at the top, and it completely is non-stop. This is the club that told Paratici and his assistant to tone it down when they were watching the games, to not be so animated and not be so vocal when they were watching the games. That really says it all about the culture.
That says something. That says something. And I think if you want to dig even deeper, Jory, I think the Hugo Lloris story and the engravings on the medals.
Yeah, I mean, that was a piece of evidence to that.
That's more evidence. Yeah. Exactly.
I think so. And so once again, I just want to, before I go, guys, I just want to emphasize this, that there's two things. If you want to see, if we want to lower our demand for success just so we can experience success, the lowest bar should be that we complete the project that we've hired a manager to do. Whether that project yields any silverware, that will just have to be history will show that. But the other thing also, guys, in terms of getting rid of the owners, for those of us who dream of that day, that will happen. I promise you there's one scenario where it will happen, and that's when we get relegated. Let's get relegated and stay down for a season. Levy will be long gone. Trust me, guys.
The debts will start to pile up.
Yeah. No,
listen, I would take it. I would take it to get rid of this ownership. So yeah.
Jory, thank you so much.
Yeah, go cheer up your boys now, Jory. Tell them to forget about Spurs until Thursday.
Till Thursday.
Yeah. All right, guys. Cheers. I'll try my best. Take care, guys.
Great the best, Joey. Have a good week, mate. Take care.
We've got a super chat here. The question is, this is from Kick6FC. It says the question is, what is our mid-term, long-term goal? League title, cup. What is our identity? What are we trying to achieve? I can tell you what it is, but it's not what the fans want.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem. Again, that's the disconnect. That's the disconnect.
So the club want to be one of the most profitable clubs in the world. They don't really want to
sustainable.
If a trophy's in that palm and they get to win a trophy,
fantastic.
It's a bonus. Yeah, it's a bonus. But as long as they're making profit, money, and everything is so where they don't have to put in much investment, and they're still making. Can be in the European. They want to be in European competitions. That's one thing they do want, because they've always highlighted that whenever they come out of their statement. In 13 of the how many seasons, we've always been in European competitions. They still want that as their identity. But
they don't want to compete in Europe, though.
Because if they start competing in the Champions League and things start moving forward, they're going to have to start spending some big money, which I don't think they really want to do. And
they've spent the big money before. They just spent it wrong.
Yeah. I mean, like proper, where they're spending, you're getting 2 players in for like 30, 40, 50 million, like, and they're class players. They don't want to be spending it on 2 world-class players. They will literally go, oh, you got Solanke, let's now build. You can't spend any more on any one Premier League proven, because that's going to cost too much. We'll do that next summer. So, yeah, it is what it is. Low wages as well.
Yeah. Last year of the contract.
Last year of the contract, yeah, because we don't usually go buy out people that... Solanke might have been the first for a long time that we've gone out and bought someone who's got more than 1 year left on their contract. But yeah, look, I don't know what the goal is. I don't think any of the fans know, even from when the club released their statements.
It's not winning trophies if you sack the manager that won trophies everywhere.
We go sacking the manager a week before the final.
That's all the evidence you need.
That's all we should have been told. So we don't even know. I can't even answer that question.
So maybe, okay, this is just me. Maybe this is maybe this is absolutely nonsensical. But maybe part of like the fan base were the problem because we're not holding anybody accountable. We're kind of just accepting it. We're accepting the mediocrity. We're accepting anyone that's saying Ange out now as well. You're accepting another go on the merry-go-round. Do you know what I mean? You're saying, okay, let's go. Let's do it again. Let's get another one going.
I'll openly admit I'm part of the problem. We are part of the problem. I'll always go back to the day before Enoch and all that took over. I remember if you met a Spurs fan in the street and whatnot, you'd have each other's back. You knew exactly. We might not have been the best side then, might not have been now.
Well, we weren't.
But all you ever hear now, whenever you talk to Spurs fans now, you leave in or leave out is the first question. And it should never be
It should never be about that.
But let's bring on our next guest. Tom, are you well? How you feeling?
Big up, Tom.
All good, lads. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
You. Lovely stuff. Lovely. Yeah, just down at the moment, mate. It's just terrible performance. I mean, you know, when you go 2-0 up in a game, most teams generally in the Premier League, you just got to drop a couple yards and just sort of, you know, try and see the game out. This sort of gun-ho attitude that Ange constantly is trying to push is just, we're getting found out in these games constantly. You know, going 2-0 up is just not acceptable to be going down 4-2. I just can't see it being sustainable, you know, and this is why we have so many like injuries. Like Van der Ven probably wouldn't have done his hamstring if half our blooming team wasn't halfway up the pitch. You know, things like that. It's just so detrimental to us, and I just don't think having this style of play is sustainable anymore. And I'm going back to what Sava said on one of the live streams a couple of days ago, and I'm starting to believe it. I was an Ange fan, but after seeing that performance and seeing what sort of has been going on in the past few sort of games, you know, the Brighton game as well, I just can't see any structure or any sort of way we can continue with this form and the way we're playing. It's just not acceptable.
Tom, but some fans would tell you, right, that if you look at the games against Manchester City, West Ham, the games that we've won, if he wasn't playing the gung-ho football, we wouldn't have been winning them 3-4. You know, we'd probably only have 1-1, 2. Well, we may not even won them if we tried to go defensive because Ange don't have to play that way. So what do you say to those fans that are saying things like that where, we'll be completely honest, if he didn't go gung-ho against City, there's no way we're winning 4-0 in the end, are we?
Yeah, that's very, very true. But I also think there needs to be a level of balance. Like, you know, that City game, you know, when's that ever happened? You know, any sort of top 6 team beating a team 4-0 is a very, very rare occurrence. And, you know, let's go and back it up and go play against Bournemouth, where we were just absolutely terrible. We can't seem to play against a team that sort of wants to sit back against us. And us playing our sort of pressing football, playing teams against like Bournemouth and your Palaces won't allow that to happen. So then we've got to figure out a way to pick the lock, which we can't seem to do. So, and then when you've got teams that are, you know, sort of going toe to toe for us, you get like Chelsea, yeah, brilliant, go 2-0 up, but just sort of tweak it a little bit and just, you know, drop a couple yards. Don't get Basuma like halfway up the pitch and losing the ball. You know, I don't know what he's doing there, Basuma. It's just not acceptable. You know, losing the ball, then getting angry and then do that stupid tackle. And I do agree with you, lad, saying about the centre backs. Like, Ange took a risk.
Huge risk.
It was clear neither of them were fit to go.
Nope.
Van der Ven or Romero. And I just don't get why, you know, we've risked them. Then now they could be out for another, you know, 2 months. You just don't know. Like, our injury crisis is subject by the way we play. And just having this constant, you know, pressure football. Yeah, it looks good when we beat teams. But when, you know, the going gets tough and we get injuries, we're screwed. Like, who are we actually going to play at centre-back now? Who actually are we going to play at centre-back?
Gray and Dragusin.
Archie Gray?
Yeah, Archie Gray.
Archie Gray, he's never, you know, he's not a centre-back. He's 18 years old. He should be playing in midfield and we play him at right-back. And, you know, just I went to the Roma game and we just got exposed. All it ever is one ball over the top with the inverted fullbacks. One ball over the top.
So easy.
The fullbacks are inverted. The amount of space. I was watching the Roma game and they just, I think it was Paredes. He just pinged the ball over the top. Archie Gray, bless him, he tries his best, but it's just easy. It's just so predictable. Once you get past that press, like Chelsea did so many times, I mean, I'm surprised Lavia even he got subbed off. He just literally broke the press, played the ball through, and it was it. Without Fraser Forster today, it could have been 5 or 6, and I don't know why. Just drop a couple yards. It's simple football, isn't it? I was screaming at the television. I'm thinking, what are we doing? Just drop a couple yards.
So how long do you think Ange has got realistically if these results keep continuing?
If they continue like this, lads, I'm sorry to say it, but he's gone because we can't do this. We're going to have to start relying on the bloody youth squad in a minute. Bring back bloody Brian Hill or whatever. I don't know. You just don't know.
He's in Girona, no? He's in Spain.
He's having the time of his life.
Yeah, he's loving it. He doesn't want to come back.
It's all right, lads. We've got Jan Min Hyuk. He's going to save us. Good, all right? He's good in training.
At this precise moment, because Leipzig don't want Werner back, I don't think we can get Hyuk to come in, so we're a bit stuck anyway.
We're screwed either way you look at it, lads. We are honestly... and Tom, I understand all your frustrations and everything that you're saying about Ange. I'm completely on board with you. For me, today, he's got it completely wrong. From the game management to even more importantly, the player management. We're 2 centre-backs down now after this and 3 points down.
Yeah.
It's looking horrible. My thing is if we go down the Ange out route now, say before Christmas, where do we go from there? Like we're in the wilderness again. We're another go on the merry-go-round. Choose your poison. Choose your manager. Ryan Mason in charge for Europa League games. Like to me that sounds like as crazy as keeping things the way they are.
I know it's a really difficult situation we're stuck in, and I just think that Ange needs to adapt. He needs to accept we're in the Premier League. We're not in the SPL. We're not in the Scottish Premier League. We're in the Premier League. Adapt your game. Just adapt your game. Just as I said it a million times, drop back. Just see games out. I know I hate to say it. The boys over the road, look what they do. They see games out. It might not be pretty, whatever, but they see games out and they bring on defensive-minded players to see the game out, and we're just not doing that.
Yeah. Well, you look at Chelsea today, don't take this game in isolation, but some of the games they've had this year, they've done exactly the same thing. They've gone 1 or 2-0 up and seen games out. Even again, when they beat Southampton 5-1 on, Tuesday, they went and saw the game out, right? They started to make substitutions to save themselves for today.
Yep.
So it's not like, it's not rocket science. It's Premier League football.
It's Conference League. They've got to go to Eastern Europe or wherever it is, like we do. There's no excuses. But and the summer transfer window just reflects that. Look what they do.
The difference is though to us and Chelsea, Tom, is $1 billion in investment. That's the difference for me.
That we all took the mick out of.
No, that's the difference there.
Now
us and them.
Yeah. Tom.
Thank
you.
Sorry, boys, but it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
No, pleasure. And please come on again.
Yeah, make
Tom.
sure you call in again.
Please do. And look, I completely understand your frustrations, and I think you're completely within your right to have them. I just don't know where we go from here, Tom.
I tried to be a positive fan, but on this one, I just can't.
and there's no positives to be taken, lad. We're 3 players down, 3 points down, and Rangers are around the corner. One of the toughest away days in Europe. It is what it is.
All right, lads. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Take care, Tom. Take care.
Cheers, bye.
All the best.
That was a good call, actually.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
You could tell, look, from when he started, you could tell he wanted to be positive.
Yeah, he does.
But even the positive fans must look at that now and go, we've lost to Chelsea and Arsenal at home this year. If we'd lost to West Ham, it would have been, I couldn't see where Ange goes from there.
No.
Right, it's all good you want to go beat Man City to give Arsenal the title, but at least try and beat one of them for us. Who's next?
Wild.
Arian is next. Oh, is he frozen?
Hello.
Am I frozen?
Can you hear me, Arian?
Yeah.
How are you feeling after that one, my friend? How are you after a 3-4 defeat to Chelsea?
Dejected, annoyed, angry, whatever.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, where do I start, dude? Where do I start? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can start with the game itself, Ariane. Like, where did we go wrong? Was it Ange? Was it the players? Was it a bit of both? Is this Levy's fault? Like, where
I'll tell you why it's Levy's fault. I'll tell you. Chelsea, in the midweek against Southampton, rested 8 of their starting 11 players. Go look at the starting 11. 8 of the players who started against Southampton did not start this game. And the ones that did went off very early in the game. We have been playing effectively the same 11 for how many months? And I'm not saying that Ange is faultless or the players are faultless or anybody is faultless. But like you said, the difference between us and Chelsea is $1 billion. They are in a different stratosphere to us. They are a big club. And we aren't. We aren't. We can say we are because of history. We can say we are whatever. We've been in the Premier League for X amount of time. We have the whatever. Of the 100 most highest paid players in the Premier League, 5 of them play for Tottenham. That's insane. It's a fucking joke. And we see it, and it gets the gap between us and the teams ahead of us get bigger every single year. Every single year. That's it. That's it. We can sack Ange, and in 18 months, we're all going to be here talking about how Graham Potter's level was always Brighton. Thomas Frank's level was always Brentford. Whoever's level was always this, that, and that's it. We can always do it. And Levy has us exactly where he wants us. Like you said, when we're divided, we're not going to be able to unite anywhere. But this is exactly what he wants. That's the reality. And this is just life as a Spurs fan. Personified today.
No, I can feel your frustrations, Ariane, and look, I think we're all there, and we all kind of don't really know where to go from here. And you know, you're hearing all the voices of your Ange-ins, your Ange-outs. For me, that's not even really the question that needs to be asked at this stage. But I will ask you the hard question, Ariane. Where do we go from here? You know, there is a huge debate within the fan base now, Ange in, Ange out. I'm firmly Ange in because I just don't think Ange out. I think that plays into Levy's hands quite personally.
Exactly.
You know, personally.
I'm 1,000% right there with you. I think the only thing we can do is hold our ground. That's the only thing. And by the way, all these fans saying, just adapt, just sit it out. This was the exact same group of fans that was saying, look, if we're losing, I just want to have a go. Not a year ago. Do we remember that? Do we all remember that? Oh, if we lose, as long as we give it a go. That was the whole sentiment just a few years, not even a year ago. Maybe just over a year ago. Okay?
People are tired of the attacking football now. People are tired of the attacking football.
People are tired of the club. There's always a boogeyman. People are just tired of how shit the club is. But they're tired of the institution, but they're never going to say it. What we're actually tired of is how we have no ambition ever. It's not the defensive football. Because if defensive football was tiring, none of those managers would exist. None of them would be in business. Some of the best teams in the world play defensive. You think Inter fans are tired of Inzaghi? I don't think so. You think Juve fans got tired of Allegri when they were winning every title? I don't think so. I don't think they were tired. People are tired of no success. People are tired of constant failure. People are tired of no investment. Of the fact that we act and we spend like a club in the mid-table. That is what people are tired of. And there's always a boogeyman. There's always a manager. There's always a player. There's always a tactic. There's always a style. There's always a this. There's always a that. It's none of those things. It's the board and it's the constant failure. That's what people are tired of.
And just going on to today's game, Ariane, quickly.
Yeah.
Like, because obviously, yes, I get it is on Levy. It is, you know, we can't say much about the board. But Ange today, is he not culpable for anything, for like tactics wise, when, you know, we are 2-0 up?
He's not faultless.
So where did he go? Where did he go? Where did he go wrong today? What you know, we've spoke about Levy now. Let's talk about the game itself. Where did Ange go wrong today to the reason why we had a 2-0 lead and we've ended up losing? Well, at one point we were 4-2 down.
look, it's a bit weird. Like, I get the thing with Basuma, and I am sick of Basuma like anybody else, and I probably would have brought Archie Gray for Basuma. But first of all, there's no guarantee that works. And second of all, I know everyone's been criticizing the decision of to bring in the center backs, and they've just been hurt. I think Van de Ven is actually fine, and he had a small just strain or something, and he's fine. But even if he's not, like, is anyone gonna pretend like they were gonna give him grace had he started Dragusin and Gray and we got thumped 4-0? Like, no one was gonna give him grace for that anyway. So he has his hands tied behind his back, and yes, maybe he should have brought on Gray for Basuma. Like I said, I would have, but I can't sit here and pretend like, first of all, that was guaranteed to work because Chelsea had us on the ropes the whole game anyway, and I can't pretend like, you know, that was such an obvious change, and that's why. Because the same reason that we were 2-0 up is the same reason we were 4-2 down, because of that's how we play, and that's the only way we can play. And even if it wasn't, we don't have anybody else. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing. Bentancur's banned, and we have our 2 center backs injured. Vicario's not injured. Any attacking options that we had, like maybe in Moore, he's ill, and we didn't spend remotely enough to get any decent cover. Richarlison's also injured, and Odegaard, I forgot about them. Like, we have nothing. We have nothing. And as much as he could have done things differently, he could have been more pragmatic, I suppose, and drop in the line. But free-flowing football, Chelsea had 70% of the ball. We were forced into our own half anyway. So what he could have done besides maybe sub in Basuma, but there's no guarantee that would have been significantly different, because Sarr gave penalty away as well. It wasn't just Basuma. So what am I supposed to say? It's
but
just
do you not think
the level.
Yeah, but you say Sarr gave away the penalty, but that's the catalogue because of the errors that Basuma was causing in the first half. And I'm not saying it would have worked, but you could clearly see that Basuma wasn't having the best. He wasn't having the best of games.
Nah, he was off it.
I agree with you. Yeah, I would have. I don't like. I'm not a fan of Basuma, and I would have taken him off.
But is it more of a case of, because you look, as soon as he made the changes at 4-2, yes, Chelsea would have eased off a little bit, but we started to get more of a foothold in the game when we had fresher legs on.
It's not, but you're underselling eased off a little bit. Their whole they basically had a different team out there, and they clearly took their foot off the gas. Like, it's not. There's no universe where we come back from that game if he makes those subs 10 minutes earlier or 15 minutes earlier. I don't believe that. I don't, and I think really the biggest thing is the fact that they were a much fresher team. We've been running these players into the ground.
I would argue, though, Ariane, that if he had made subs at half time, he could have changed the result of that game, because we were still 2-1 up. We were still 2-1 up. We were in the ascendancy. We let Chelsea onto us in that first 10 minutes of the second half. We just let them pile onto us and pile onto us.
And he did have a player on the bench called James Maddison.
Exactly, and this is where I get frustrated.
We let them onto us after the second goal. Not at halftime. And James Maddison, as brilliant of a player as he can be sometimes, he has his fair share of bad performances, and he is not going to be someone you want to bring in to steady a game. And we all know that. I mean, we all know he's the player that is the most reliant on the momentum. If you bring him on trying to shift the momentum, I don't think it's ever worked. And we've tried it with the Void Master. I don't buy the whole subs thing. And I think it's all ifs, buts, and maybes, and it's all because Maddison got an assist, albeit a good one, against a Chelsea team that was basically completely different to the one that we were playing in the first and second half for the most part, that completely took their foot off the gas. I don't think it's fair to make that comparison. And I'm not saying Andrew's faultless. I'm not saying he could have done anything differently, but I'm like, it's just the wrong thing to focus on. It's not the real issue.
I would argue with that, Ariane. Yeah. I would say that those if, buts, and maybes, they are what makes a manager's decision, like the career even. Like, you look at Pochettino, not playing Mora in the final probably cost him his job, like in the long run for Spurs. And for me, I'm looking for my managers. I've always looked at Ange, and I love Ange. I love the way he goes about his business, and I love the fact that he's one-track minded in his thought about how football should be played. There are elements that I absolutely adore. However, I've seen it in game after game that he's not willing to make changes early enough to affect games. And I think, again, today is evidence of that, because, Marlon, we're sat here watching the match. We can see Basuma's a bit off it. Yep. We can see something's not quite right. That first goal, he should have been closing out. He just dangles a leg, Ariane. That's so lazy. Yeah. That's how I would play on a five-a-side pitch here in London. That's not how you play on the world stage at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So, like, I get where all the kind of heat for Ange is coming off this one.
I understand it. I simply think it's a misdirected anger, and I think it's by design. Okay. Like I said, I think this is exactly where this is where Levy wants us. And he's gonna die for his sins again. It's gonna happen. Like it's going to happen. And like I said, in 18 months, we're all gonna be talking about how Frank is out of his depth, or Potter's out of his depth, or Howe is out of his depth, or whoever, someone. Everyone's out of their depth here because this place is 12 feet deep of shit. That's what it is.
All right then.
Yeah, it's tough to really disagree with you there, Ariane. 7 losses.
Yeah.
And it's not even Christmas.
21 in his whole tenure as well, and he's not even close to... He's close to Conte and Mourinho already.
Rangers and Southampton are going to be huge.
Basically, where does he go from here? If he loses to Southampton next week...
Yeah. Well, he's going to go at some point. I probably think he's... Like, the fixtures we have, Man United in the Cup, Liverpool, Rangers is also tough. Obviously, Southampton, we have that curse. Something's going to happen. Something's going to give. He's going to go. Mason's going to be in charge for a couple months. We're going to get rejected by 8 managers.
Oh, I don't want to hear that, Ariane.
It's going to happen. I don't want to hear it. I stuck my neck out for him for an hour and 40 minutes against Saba a week ago.
Yeah. That's not going too well now.
And I don't think I was wrong in anything I said. I think, again, he's going to die for Levy's sins. It's going to happen. Because we don't like... And people saying bring in Andoni Iraola. There is a culture at this club of no patience, and I understand wanting results. Iraola lost about 20 games last season, something like that, and now they look brilliant. Every other club has this can accept patience. Arteta, you just said, well, we banged on about Arteta, or not you, it was the other guy, but Arteta had a very similar run to this in his own first season.
He didn't lose.
Season.
Yeah, he didn't lose as many games, but he had a similar run. He had more draws against his... No, he had more draw. He didn't lose because at this precise moment, the first 50 games, Postecoglou's lost more than Klopp, lost more than Arteta. He's won equally, but he lost a lot more. What you have to realise is that they drew a lot more games.
Yeah.
So it's the loss.
He's a bit more volatile. I get that.
It's the losses that are causing the issue. Because if you lose, it's going to cause a negative effect, which it's going to do. If he had drawn today, none of us are coming on here today.
Even against Brighton, if we had nicked a point against Brighton or nicked a point from Palace, considering the collapse, there would be a lot less frustration.
And we won't be using Ipswich, Palace, Bournemouth, and all that as an excuse if some of those were draws.
Yeah.
Because no one has mentioned Fulham last week. Not nobody, because we didn't lose.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem with Ange. It's how many games he loses, right? And that's what the problem is. Because at the moment, what is it? 6 and 7?
6 and 7.
Yeah.
And we're at 6 and 7.
Yeah. And we're not even halfway through.
Or 6-2 and 7.
Yeah. And we're not even halfway through the season. So this is why Ange, sometimes you have to look at it and go, is he just the right fit for this club right now? And that's where, no matter what we want, it's more. Like, I'm going to say this. It's about what the board want, because no matter what we want, they don't fully invest in. They didn't fully invest in Jose. They didn't fully invest in Conte after we wanted them as fans, and then we wanted attacking football, and they haven't really fully invested in. And
look,
if we're
when
being
you were saying,
honest,
like in the last call, do we need a manager for the board? That doesn't exist. Like what I'm saying is that's a fairy tale. There is no manager that is right for this board. That doesn't. It's not a thing.
There has
right?
been.
Poch was.
There has been. Redknapp.
Poch wasn't even right for this board. Poch was just a miracle worker, is what he was.
Yeah, but that's
what happened to Poch ultimately?
That's what the board wanted.
That's what the board want.
They wanted a miracle
worker. A miracle
worker.
worker is a unicorn. They don't exist. They're fairy tales.
But Martin Yole, Redknapp, and Poch were the sort of managers they want, who can work, like especially Redknapp,
work with a budget.
Work
with a budget.
Here's some
Nico
players,
Crancher,
but I don't have to go too big for you.
Yep.
You can't.
So
they want. I get it, but whatever. Once it happens, it's gonna, like, here's the thing. We all know it's gonna. The writing's on the wall. It's gonna happen. Once it happens, I'm gonna be so incredibly apathetic. I don't even know if I might not watch some of the games, and that's never happened, because I'm on the brink. Like, what do you try? What do you actually try? What is there left to try? Have we tried defensive football? Have we tried offensive football? Have we tried someone like Poch? Have we tried someone like... What is there left? Who is left?
I've got one thing for you, Ariane.
Hold on, we got a super chat for Ariane as well. Someone's got a super chat for
the
it.
$1 billion method. That's what I want to see done.
That won't happen.
But Spurs would mess that up too. If we done what Chelsea done, they'd mess it up.
Okay, do you know what then? Go 200 million and just get me 2 world-class players to add to this squad. 2 world-class players.
I want Brian Mbeumo.
2. And Creature.
Defensive midfielder.
There we go. 2, just 2.
Here's what I'm saying though, like,
yeah,
what's up?
There was a super chat for you as well from John, the John Cooper show. He's gone, Ariane, I want an apology to Sava.
No, I'm not going to give him that apology. I'm not going to give him. I don't think I was wrong about Ange. I will not apologize, Sava. I don't take anything I said about Ange back. Not one bit, not one word about Ange I said was wrong. Because the problem isn't Ange. That's what I'm telling you. The problem is not Ange. The problem is that what I'll tell you this. Once we get rid of Ange, he will go somewhere like Leeds, bring them up. Next season, we're going to get thumped wherever he goes. I'm telling you that's going to happen. Because at that point, we're going to be at this end of the cycle with another manager. That's what's going to happen.
Do you know why I think that? Look, what you just said, I kind of don't agree with, because I get what you mean about Leeds, yeah, and I get, he would bring them up. But I look at someone like Southampton, who are trying to play exactly the same way, but they don't have the players to play it. And we're kind of in that situation. We don't have the top players to be playing Ange Ball system.
No, but we don't have the squad to play it. We have the 11.
Yeah, we have the 11. Yeah,
because we just did what we did to City. So we have the 11, and that's not even the 11. We have the 13 or 15. We don't have the 20, 23 to compete.
You say that, but if you go back to Newcastle, Arsenal, and I can't remember who we lost to, and even Brighton. Then players weren't injured. Players weren't injured. Apart from Sonny, we had an 11, but they were still losing games. So it's ifs and buts. So it's all good, yeah. If he went to somewhere like Leeds, he'd be successful to a certain point, and then it would be exactly what Southampton are trying to do now.
I'm giving you an example. I think Russell Martin is not remotely on the same caliber as Ange, but I'm not here to get into that debate. My point is, wherever he goes, we will meet Ange again, and we will get thumped. We will get thumped because we're going to be at some point with a different manager, this exact spot. This is not the first time we've been here. This is not the first time. How many managers have we called clueless in the last 10 years? How many? Yeah. Or 5, I guess, because Poch took 5 of those years. How many managers have we called clueless in 5 or 6 years? 6, 7, 5? How many? Stellini, Mason, Jose, Conte, Nuno. Ange.
I did not call Jose and Conte clueless. No. Everyone was against.
Oh, I didn't. I called Conte clueless, to be honest, but I was never. I was never off the Jose fan.
I would never.
I think the Conte thing, you guys are right about that. I think he was not in the headspace, and he was making horrible decisions and horrible.
Oh, mate, he wanted out, mate. He was not okay when he was with us.
That second season, because he had too much going on.
I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but I'm saying generally, like in that season, he had to go because he kind of like Ange. I'm not saying he was not faultless, neither is Ange. Ange is not faultless, but he is not the problem at Spurs. And I think if you think that we're gonna get anywhere with him, and I think kind of like Sava, who hates Levy, right? I think when you say things, and you guys have made this point, when you say Ange out, you're giving Levy a bye. You're letting somebody go under the bus for him again and again and again. It doesn't work.
I can't agree with you more on that statement, and that is why, with all the people that are Ange out, I just want them to think about what are the consequences of that, because I do not want any more goes on the merry-go-round, the manager merry-go-round. I'm done with that. I'm done.
It's just, for me,
you give Levy something to say.
I'm done. I don't want it. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I'm with you on that, Ariane. I'm with you. But thanks for calling in, and try to just forget about Spurs until Thursday night. Then you can go back to Ange in or out.
If he gets beat by Rangers, Jesus.
Oh, mate, I don't even want to think about it. Yeah, it's over. So that's what I'm saying. Rangers and Southampton, because we could even beat Rangers and lose to Southampton. He's still gone, I reckon.
He can't lose to Southampton.
Yeah, he can't lose to Southampton. Yeah.
I think he gets to the semi-final. I think he'll
the Carabao Cup?
Yeah. Not the semi-final, the Man United game, the quarter-final. He'll get that game. I think he's got till then.
Okay. Time will tell.
That. I mean, look, even a final, that's not protected a Spurs manager before. Like, what?
Nope.
He won't make the same mistake twice. He won't. Even I can't see that.
Lightning can sometimes strike twice.
If he made that twice, I wouldn't know where to go.
Would.
I might have to be.
I think with Josie, to be fair, what it
or
was.
something. Because that'll kill me.
To be fair, not fair, but I think with Josie, what it was he knew if Josie wins that, he is invincible, and he can't live with an invincible Mourinho. He can't. He knows that. I think it was more insurance than it was anything else.
Yeah. He'll never live it down, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. He needs to not live a lot of things down, whatever it is.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Nice one for calling in. And
as always, come on, you Spurs!
come on.
Oh, mate. That was a hot one. Went from up here to down there like that. But yeah, no, look. It is what it is. Spurs will be Spurs, I think, from the same sounds of that.
Yeah.
I think everyone's in the same predicament. I don't think... apart from... I forgot his name now. He was probably the only one who was like, I'm over the edge, Ange. I'm going to be Ange out.
Tom,
that's it, Tom. But everyone else...
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I don't blame any Spurs fan who,
I'm so close. I am that close. But I agree with everything you have said. There's no point in sacking him because I know where we're going to go next.
That's it.
And when I say I know where we're going to go next, they don't know where they're going to go next.
Exactly. So Mason we're looking at this person, we're looking at that person, we're searching around here, we're searching over there, and
I tell you now, they're searching now. They've put the feeders out because Andrew had been gone a few weeks. I reckon Andrew had been gone by now. But I will tell you this now: everyone has told us no. And I bet that's where we're at. And I bet that's why, the only reason why we're going to end up keeping Ange is because no one else wants the job. It's only if it becomes untenable, like the Southampton. I think he will get the Manchester United game. If he loses that, he's gone. Because I've always said, and I'll be open and honest with this, I'll take these results if we went and got a cup. So for me, if he goes and wins the Carabao Cup and we finish 8th or 9th, I have to sit there and back what I said.
Mate, I'll take that as well. I'll take that all day.
I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be mad. But I wasn't angry and mad today.
You weren't.
No,
you were
because
calm. You were
it was calm
Marlon.
because it was Chelsea.
I was more fired up, mate. I was more fired, mate, because it was 2-0.
Yeah.
When you're 2-0 ahead, you can't lose the game 4-3.
Yeah.
That's just criminal. Yeah. It's criminal.
It was criminal.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting fired up again. I need to go home, mate.
But on that note, as always, Benison will be back tomorrow, probably doing a player review as they are. If you're not a subscriber to We Are Tottenham TV, please, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Why are you even coming here just to abuse us? At least subscribe to abuse us, especially if you're an away fan. Right? But at least, make sure you like and subscribe. Amir, have you got anything coming up on the socials? You want to promote anything while you're here?
Nah. Just look, guys. If you haven't already, smash the like on the We Are Tottenham TV. Go over to Marlon's channel as well and smash a like and a subscribe on Spurs Kings.
It's in the description, people. You
Come
don't
on,
have to go
guys.
that far.
Come on.
Yeah.
And just big yourselves up. Go. I want all the Spurs fans going out there, starting your week. Monday morning, just go out there, enjoy yourselves, do what you got to do, and don't think about Spurs until it comes to 8 o'clock Thursday. We're up there. And
just go, it's who we are, mate. If anyone wants to
if anyone says it's who we are, and just jog on. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But no, look, on a serious note, thank you to everyone in the chat as well today, because actually it's been great.
Thank you very much for joining
everybody,
us.
whether you've liked it or not, whether you liked what we've done today. But look, thank you so much. Big up to everyone.
Come on.
At the end of the day,